absolutely losing their minds over each other in total silence. Neither one has said the full truth yet, but the energy between you screams it without stopping. This bond does not require explanation because your souls already negotiated the terms long ago. You both recognized something rare the moment your paths collided, and that recognition never faded. The magnetism here pulses equally from both directions with a force that completely defies logic. What makes this connection so intense is the unspoken agreement neither of you can abandon. You sense it in the pauses between conversations, in glances that linger a beat too long. This love has roots stretching deeper than either of you comprehends, and the soil only gets richer. A knowingness lives between you that bypasses words entirely, and it has existed since the very start. Every interaction confirms what both hearts already decided, even when your minds tried arguing otherwise. The tension here is not born from doubt. It is born from two people terrified of certainty. You both guard the depth of what you feel because admitting it fully would change absolutely everything. Beneath every casual exchange lives an electric undercurrent, and pretending it does not exist exhausts you both. What you share has outlasted distance, silence, and every rational excuse either of you ever manufactured. The connection refuses to weaken, regardless of circumstance. And that resilience alone tells you everything. Other people notice the chemistry before either of you acknowledges it. And that observation is not coincidence. Come in close, because the cards mirror exactly what this connection already radiates between you two. The first card here is the Ace of Cups, and this card overflows with pure emotional genesis. The Ace of Cups does not surface unless a love of extraordinary depth is actively present right now. This card confirms that what exists between you is not manufactured attraction or convenient companionship. The Ace of Cups reveals a wellspring of authentic feeling, shared equally and felt on a cellular level. Both emotional reservoirs are full to the brim, and the contents keep spilling toward each other naturally. The Ace of Cups carries a purity that cannot be faked, and what you hold is genuinely real. This card holds zero ambiguity. What you share is the rarest form of emotional truth between two people. The overflow captured in this ace is mutual, and neither heart has interest in redirecting that current. Then we have the Four of Wands, anchoring this connection in stability and shared sacred ground. The Four of Wands tells me this bond already has a foundation, built from genuine respect and devotion. What this card also reveals is a sense of homecoming you both experience around each other instinctively. Neither one has to perform or pretend here, because acceptance lives at the absolute core of this. The comfort between you is not manufactured through effort. It exists naturally, like gravity pulling objects closer. You have built something sacred without even labeling it, and the Four of Wands honors that unspoken creation. This card confirms you already occupy a private emotional world that nobody else has any access to. The Four of Wands validates what you quietly suspected all along. This love was destined before you met. Coming through last is the Temperance card, confirming divine orchestration guiding this entire connection forward. Temperance shows the balance between your two energies is not accidental, but spiritually engineered with precision. The universe placed you in orbit around each other deliberately, and Temperance confirms nothing here was random. This card reveals that patience has been protecting the bond, allowing it to mature rather than combust. The quiet intensity you both carry for each other is what Temperance describes as love alchemized by time. Divine timing has been weaving your stories together in the background, and every thread is becoming visible. What Temperance ultimately confirms is that this connection was never an accident, but a deliberate arrangement. The patience you both exercised without realizing it allowed this bond to develop roots that nothing can disturb. The cards leave no question. You two are quietly consumed by each other, and this love was meant. So let us go ahead and dive into this because your emotional landscape deserves closer examination. You have been sitting with a feeling you cannot name, and it occupies every corner of your chest. A warmth refuses to cool down inside you, no matter how many times you attempt to rationalize it. Your heart already knows the answer to the question your mind keeps obsessively recycling on repeat. The struggle is not about decoding what you feel. It is about accepting how immense that feeling is. You have downplayed this connection for your own protection, but minimizing it has grown utterly exhausting. Pretending something ordinary is unfolding when everything inside screams extraordinary takes a real toll over time. Your emotional bandwidth has been consumed by this one subject, and nothing else occupies that frequency. Late at night, when distractions fade, the truth sits beside you and waits, without intention of leaving. You have tried redirecting your attention toward other areas, but your focus always drifts quietly back here. The honesty you owe yourself is overdue, and your spirit grows impatient with the performance of composure. You deserve to acknowledge what pulses through you without shame, because what you feel is not weakness. Denying the magnitude of this only punishes you, and your soul is tired of absorbing that punishment silently. Every suppressed truth creates pressure, and the container you built to hold it all is reaching its limit. Something inside you already decided, and the rest of you is slowly catching up to that quiet verdict. The first card reflecting your inner world is the High Priestess, reading you with surgical precision today. She confirms that your intuition has been whispering the truth long before your logic ever caught up. You have sensed the depth of this connection instinctively, and that knowing unsettles you more than comforts. The High Priestess reveals that you possess clarity you refuse to trust, because trust requires vulnerability. Your subconscious already mapped the entire landscape, while your conscious mind deliberately played ignorant about it. Wisdom stored in your gut has been calling for attention, and she will not let you ignore it. Your dreams have been communicating about this connection, and the symbols are growing harder to dismiss nightly. She does not tolerate self-deception, and she nudges you relentlessly toward radical emotional honesty with yourself. You already know exactly what this is, and the only remaining barrier is your willingness to admit it. Next, we have the Three of Pentacles, highlighting the internal craftsmanship happening quietly within your spirit. This card shows you have been quietly building yourself into a version capable of receiving deep partnership. Growth has been unfolding beneath the surface of your routine, and the progress is more significant than visible. The Three of Pentacles confirms you have been investing in emotional architecture, strengthening foundations once neglected. A maturation process is unfolding inside you that only patience and lived experience could have ever produced. You are not the same person you were a year ago, and that evolution prepared you for this. Your spirit has been under quiet renovation, and the blueprint it follows points toward emotional partnership directly. This card says you are ready in ways that your doubt refuses to acknowledge or celebrate just yet. Then we have the Six of Cups, wrapping your emotional state in nostalgic tenderness and familiar warmth. The Six of Cups confirms that part of what you feel is rooted in familiarity transcending ordinary memory. This connection triggers something ancient inside you, a recognition that predates logic and defies simple explanation. Your heart responds to this bond with childlike openness, unguarded and instinctive in a way that surprises you. You feel safe in ways you cannot rationalize, and that safety activates a version of you rarely seen. The innocence captured here is not naivety. It is the purest form of trust your spirit offers. Your emotional state is not confusion. It is a soul remembering where it belongs and finally accepting that. The resistance you felt was never rejection of truth. It was simply the fear of surrendering completely. The cards confirm everything living inside you at this moment is valid and deserving of full acknowledgement.
Now let us go deeper into this, because their internal world is far more complex than it appears. This person has been wrestling with emotions that refuse to obey any structure they attempt to impose. The composure they display on the outside is a carefully maintained performance masking absolute inner chaos. They recognized what this connection was from the earliest moments, and that recognition terrified them instantly. Admitting the depth of what they feel means surrendering control, and control is their oldest survival tool. Their mind runs calculations constantly, measuring risk against reward in a war their heart already won. Logic tells them to proceed with caution, but every instinct in their body screams the opposite direction. They have never encountered a connection that dismantled their defenses this efficiently, and it haunts them. The duality living inside them is exhausting.
wanting to speak while simultaneously dreading the consequences of honesty. Their pride constructed an elaborate fortress, but every brick crumbles the moment this connection crosses their mind. The contradiction between who they present and who they become around this bond is a source of agony. They replay interactions obsessively, searching for confirmation that what they sense is genuinely mutual and real. Fear of misreading the situation paralyzes them, even though their gut confirms the reading is accurate. Unspoken devotion presses against their rib cage with increasing force, and the pressure builds with each encounter. The first card exposing their world is the King of Pentacles, revealing their foundational need for stability. This card shows a person who measures everything through the lens of permanence and lasting emotional value. They do not invest emotionally unless the return feels guaranteed, and guarantees terrify them in this arena. The King of Pentacles confirms they have been assessing this connection with the seriousness of lifelong planning. Their hesitation is not disinterest. It is the careful patience of a person who only builds things forever. They treat matters of the heart with identical discipline to everything else they consider sacred and permanent. Their silence is not neglect. It is the restraint of a person refusing to offer anything half-built. What this card also reveals is a deep terror of offering everything and receiving absolutely nothing back. The irony is that certainty already lives inside them, but acknowledging it means accepting they are all in. Their internal world operates on earned trust, and they hold themselves to that principle without mercy. Every emotion gets filtered through a system designed to prevent catastrophic loss, and love bypasses it entirely. Then we have the Five of Cups, illuminating the grief sitting quietly beneath their polished composure today. Past losses have carved deep trenches in their ability to trust, and those trenches never fully healed. This card confirms their guardedness is not personality. It is scar tissue formed from previous emotional wreckage. They compare every vulnerable moment against a catalog of past betrayals, searching for patterns that justify retreat. Grief they never processed still circulates through their decisions, coloring every emotional risk with familiar dread. The Five of Cups also reveals private sadness about opportunities already missed and time already wasted in silence. They grieve the moments they could have spoken honestly but chose protection, and that regret compounds daily. Beneath the grief lives a stubborn refusal to lose this connection, the same way they lost others before. This card reveals someone caught between honoring old pain and choosing to believe this time is different. Coming through last is the Hermit, capturing the solitary processing happening deep inside their spirit right now. The Hermit confirms that withdrawal into themselves has been deliberate, seeking clarity through chosen isolation. They have been sitting alone with the magnitude of their feelings, examining every angle in private contemplation. This card shows them conducting an internal audit of worthiness, questioning whether they deserve what they feel. The Hermit confirms their retreat is not rejection. It is the sacred process of preparing to emerge honestly. Every quiet hour spent alone makes the answer louder and clearer, and it keeps spelling the same name.
Okay, let us go ahead and get into it, because tangible movement is already unfolding around this connection. The stagnation that once defined the space between you two has officially broken apart at the seams. Decisions are being made on both sides quietly, and those decisions all converge toward the same destination. Neither one of you is standing still anymore.
even if the steps taken remain invisible to each other. There is a gravitational shift occurring in the logistics of this connection, and it cannot be undone now. Schedules are being adjusted without conscious intention, creating openings that did not previously exist between you. The universe is rearranging practical circumstances behind the scenes, and neither of you orchestrated this deliberately. Coincidences are stacking up in ways that defy probability, placing you both closer to direct contact repeatedly. A conversation that was once hypothetical is now transitioning into something with a real timeline attached. The energy surrounding communication has shifted from dormant to active, and words are forming that cannot be unsaid. One of you will initiate contact soon, and the catalyst will appear ordinary but carry extraordinary weight. A text, a call, or an unexpected encounter is materializing rapidly, and it arrives under completely natural pretense. The first card driving this movement is the Magician, and this card confirms deliberate manifestation in progress. The Magician shows that the necessary resources for this reunion already exist and are being assembled right now. Nothing additional needs to be created or invented. Every ingredient required for contact is already in position. This card confirms that willpower has shifted from passive wishing into active and focused intention on both ends. The Magician reveals that one of you has crossed the threshold from contemplation into concrete preparation mode. Practical arrangements are being handled with quiet precision, and the Magician guarantees execution follows planning swiftly. This card does not tolerate idle fantasy. It demands that thought translate into measurable physical action immediately. The Magician confirms that the blueprint for connection has been drafted, and construction has already quietly begun. Mutual friends or shared environments are becoming the bridge, whether either of you consciously engineered that or not. Digital communication channels are being revisited, old messages reread, and the courage to type fresh ones is building. The invisible thread connecting your daily movements is tightening with a precision that borders on supernatural. The groundwork is not theoretical anymore. Specific logistics are clicking into position with deliberate mechanical precision. Then we have the Three of Wands, and this card confirms the horizon is no longer empty. The Three of Wands shows that the waiting period has officially concluded, and forward motion replaces anticipation now. It reveals that one of you has already taken the first concrete step, even if it appeared insignificant. Expansion is confirmed around this connection by this card, and the territory between you is growing rapidly. What was once a private internal experience is now spilling outward into shared physical reality between you. Plans involving proximity are forming organically, and neither of you can deny the pattern emerging beneath the surface. The Three of Wands carries the energy of ships returning to harbor, loaded with exactly what was anticipated. This card guarantees that what was sent out emotionally is now circling back in physical and tangible form. Invitations or opportunities placing you in the same space will surface within a compressed and accelerated time frame. The practical distance separating you is shrinking through a series of coordinated events, none of which feel forced. One pivotal interaction is approaching that will dissolve the remaining gap, and it arrives disguised as something casual. The timing of this encounter will feel accidental, but the cards confirm every detail was coordinated beforehand. The Magician paired with the Three of Wands produces momentum that converts invisible intention into visible encounter. Everything required for this meeting has been gathered, and the only variable is the exact moment of impact. The cards confirm action is no longer pending. It is already underway and accelerating toward a definitive moment. So let us go into it, because the confessions buried between you two run deeper than either admits. There are truths neither one has dared to vocalize, and those truths occupy permanent residence in both chests. Each of you carries a version of this story that the other has never been allowed to read. The words they rehearse in private would unravel every pretense of casualness that currently holds this together. They have imagined confessing with such vivid detail that the fantasy itself has become a form of intimacy. What they hide most carefully is not attraction. It is the terrifying scope of their long-term devotion. They do not simply want a moment with you. They want permanence that stretches across decades without flinching. The confession trapped behind their teeth is not small. It is the kind that reshapes two entire lives. They have practiced saying the words in empty rooms, adjusting tone until it matches the gravity inside. Every draft of that confession gets discarded because no arrangement of language feels adequate for what lives inside. The desire they suppress is not purely romantic. It extends into a craving for complete domestic partnership. They picture mornings and routines and shared silence, not just passion, but the quiet architecture of permanence. The first card holding their confessions is the Devil, exposing the obsessive depth of their fixation. The Devil confirms this person is bound to you by a force. They stopped trying to resist. The attachment they carry has crossed from admiration into territory that consumes their thoughts without mercy. This card reveals a hunger that operates beneath conscious control, pulling them toward you on a primal frequency. The Devil does not appear unless the desire involved is raw, undeniable, and physically consuming at its root. They crave proximity to you in ways that would shock anyone who witnesses only their composed exterior. Their fantasies are not vague. They are specific and detailed, and they return nightly without invitation or warning. The Devil also uncovers a confession about possessiveness, a quiet territorial instinct they would never voice publicly. They do not want to share your attention, and that admission creates shame they have never processed openly. The intensity of their fixation frightens them because it contradicts the rational image they project to the world. What the Devil ultimately exposes is a person who surrendered internally long ago, but refuses to announce it. Their body responds to your presence in ways discipline cannot override, and that loss of control haunts them. Every suppressed glance and measured interaction is a performance costing them more energy than anyone around suspects. The mask of indifference requires constant maintenance, and the Devil says that maintenance is nearing total collapse. They are one unguarded moment away from revealing everything, and that proximity to exposure terrifies them completely. Then we have the Queen of Cups. And this card reveals the emotional tenderness concealed beneath their obsession. The Queen of Cups shows that underneath the intensity, lives a devotion so pure it resembles spiritual surrender. They carry a gentleness toward you, never extended to another soul in any chapter of their life. This card confirms their love is not desire dressed as devotion. It is genuine emotional reverence. She reveals that they memorize details about you unconsciously, cataloging preferences and patterns with care. They notice shifts in your mood before you announce them, and they carry that awareness like sacred responsibility. Their unspoken confession includes a promise they have already made to themselves to protect your peace above all. She also exposes a vulnerability they guard ferociously, the fear of being seen as too intense. They worry that revealing the full spectrum of what they feel would overwhelm you and trigger permanent retreat. The confession they cannot release is devastatingly simple. They are entirely yours and have been since the beginning. Every unsent message and swallowed sentence lives inside them as evidence of a surrender they cannot take back. What you hide from each other is the identical truth neither believes the other is ready to hear. The cards confirm these confessions cannot stay buried indefinitely, because love at this magnitude demands to be spoken. Now, let us come in close for the final time, because the near future is arranging something undeniable. The cards confirm that within the approaching weeks, the unspoken barrier between you two officially dissolves. A moment of mutual honesty is forming on the horizon, and when it lands, nothing stays unchanged. Expect a conversation that strips away every layer of pretense, leaving only raw truth standing between you. The near future holds a reckoning where both hearts finally speak at full volume, without rehearsal or filter. This exchange will feel like exhaling after years of holding your breath, and relief floods everything. You will recognize the moment it arrives, because your body will confirm what your mind resisted. Their words will mirror something you have secretly carried, and the symmetry of that revelation will be staggering. My advice through this is to release the need for perfection and allow authenticity to lead. Do not rehearse your response before the moment arrives, because genuine reaction carries more weight than polish. Trust the timing, even when it feels unbearable, because what is aligning was never meant to be rushed. Stay anchored in your worth while remaining open, because confidence and receptivity can occupy the same breath. Give yourself permission to be fully seen without apology, because that is exactly what this connection requires. What you share was never meant to live in silence, and the near future agrees with that completely. Do not let fear of intensity convince you to dilute what you feel, because dilution is dishonesty. The bravest thing either of you can offer is the unedited version of what lived inside quietly. Let us bring this reading full circle, because the message today was unmistakable from the start. The message was this: you two are quietly losing your minds over each other, and both know it. This love is meant to be, and every single card across this spread confirmed that truth without exception. No card contradicted the message, and that kind of unanimous alignment is extraordinarily rare in any reading. The Ace of Cups opened with pure emotional genesis, confirming a love of extraordinary depth actively flowing. The Four of Wands anchored this bond in stability, validating a foundation built from genuine respect and devotion. Temperance confirmed divine orchestration, revealing that the balance between your energies was spiritually engineered with care. The High Priestess read your inner world with precision, confirming your intuition has been whispering truth all along. The Three of Pentacles highlighted internal growth, showing you have been quietly building yourself into readiness. The Six of Cups wrapped your state in nostalgic familiarity, confirming a recognition that predates ordinary memory. The King of Pentacles exposed their need for permanence, revealing caution rooted in someone who only builds forever. The Five of Cups illuminated grief from past losses, showing scar tissue that shaped their guardedness toward love. The Hermit captured solitary processing, confirming deliberate withdrawal as preparation to emerge with complete honesty. The Magician confirmed active manifestation, showing every resource for this reunion is already assembled and positioned. The Three of Wands validated forward expansion, confirming the waiting period has concluded and motion replaces anticipation. The Devil exposed obsessive depth of attachment, revealing a fixation that crosses from admiration into consuming devotion. The Queen of Cups uncovered emotional tenderness beneath intensity, confirming a devotion so pure it resembles surrender. The Sun arrives now to close this reading, flooding the entire spread with warmth and triumphant emotional clarity. The Sun confirms that what awaits you is not uncertainty, but joy, patiently earning its moment. The Ten of Pentacles seals everything with a promise of lasting legacy, a love that builds generational foundation. This is not a temporary chapter. The Ten of Pentacles confirms a bond designed to endure across lifetimes. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for staying present through this entire reading. Your energy carries something genuinely rare, and this reading honored the depth of what lives inside you completely. Whatever comes next, carry the certainty that what you feel is real, mutual, and protected by something beyond. I am sending you warmth and light, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. The cards confirm that within the approaching weeks, the unspoken barrier between you two officially dissolves. A moment of mutual honesty is forming on the horizon, and when it lands, nothing stays unchanged. Expect a conversation that strips away every layer of pretense, leaving only raw truth standing between you. The near future holds a reckoning where both hearts finally speak at full volume, without rehearsal or filter. This exchange will feel like exhaling after years of holding your breath, and relief floods everything. You will recognize the moment it arrives, because your body will confirm what your mind resisted. Their words will mirror something you have secretly carried, and the symmetry of that revelation will be staggering. My advice through this is to release the need for perfection and allow authenticity to lead. Do not rehearse your response before the moment arrives, because genuine reaction carries more weight than polish. Trust the timing even when it feels unbearable, because what is aligning was never meant to be rushed. Stay anchored in your worth while remaining open, because confidence and receptivity can occupy the same breath. Give yourself permission to be fully seen without apology, because that is exactly what this connection requires.